Hey guys, it's Christian, your Vancouver Realtor, and the topic for today's video is our summer update. And is the market cooling? We are seeing a cooling. Instead of bombarding you with stats, just a simple one, sales are down by about 10-11% overall. But don't get that confused with sale prices. Sale prices are pretty much where they were last month, the month before, if not higher. It's just that the number of sales, the number of people buying and selling has slowed down somewhat. I want to throw up an interesting stat here. You can see it shows you condos, townhomes, detached homes, and you can see the numbers here. They're actually pretty strong right across the board. If you start with detached homes, what this is saying, this is the sales to listings ratio, that 27.5% of detached homes are selling every month, or that there's about 4 months worth of inventory of detached homes. Typically, that's not a lot. That still indicates rising prices, okay? And then as we go along here, you can see townhomes, 49.2%. I mean, that is still red hot. And the trend that explains that, of course, is the work from home trend. I've been talking to a lot of my clients who work in tech companies. I just spoke to a gentleman the other day in my running club, and he said he works for the city of Vancouver in their tech department. And he said the new thing is all tech workers are going to be working from home, and they might come into the office 1 day a week. Talking to other people in tech, they're saying the same thing, that in essence they might be in the office 1-2 days a week, and of course this allows companies to save money on overhead like rent. That's the new trend, and so that's why people are running to get that extra space, right? Get more space if you're going to be at home 3-4 days a week. And finally there, you will see the condo sales have been lagging for the last year, and of course they've been picking up obviously in the spring. You see right there, 37.1%. That's pretty strong. That's a very healthy number. That tells us that all the condo inventory is selling out in 3 months, which is quite strong and also indicates rising prices. Now, we do want to dig a little bit deeper, right? Because if you go to different pockets of the city, we'll get a different story or different types of homes, newer homes versus older homes. I'm going to show you an example. This is a sale I had in Fraser Valley. Now, this was a beautiful townhouse, polygon, master plan community, and it's just the type of townhouse everybody falls in love with. And my sellers here are really, really bright people. They followed all my guidance. They got the home ready. You know, they painted top to bottom, you know, replaced all the broken blinds, fixed and tightened all the loose door handles, all those things you want to do when you're a seller and when you're listing, because you want to give a great first impression to the buyers when the buyers are coming through, right? And so we came on the market sort of mid-June. And I have to say, I was a little surprised. I thought the response was quite tepid, or it was quite it was a slow response. My phone wasn't ringing off the hook, and I think we only had about 5-6 phone calls there in the first handful of days on the market. And what we ended up, now we had an offer deadline scheduled, like you see with most other listings out there, right? They come on the market Monday, the following Monday, 6 p.m., offer deadline. We were going to do that too, except we noticed that the market was too soft, so we're going to have to change the strategy. Especially because we had a group come in, they really liked it, fell in love with it. And just happened to be that was the community, that was the complex that they wanted to be in. I guess they may have lost out on another home in that same community just before we'd come to market. And so, in discussions with the buyer's agent, who is really just a top pro, I could sense that they were willing to come in strong. And he had suggested a bully offer, and a bully offer is when you come in early prior to the deadline with a really strong offer. Often it's a subject free, no conditions, the bank draft's attached, the seller signs on the dotted line, and it's done, right? And the sellers are happy and they can sleep at night because they can plan their future and their next steps, my clients. So in discussions with him, we discussed a little bit about the offer. There was 1, 2, 3, and finally we got him up to about $25,000 above the listing price with one offer. So, you can work a little bit of magic sometimes. You just have to know, you have to have a good feel for people in the business. And so we were able to sell this above the listing price by about $25,000 with only one offer. So it's a grand slam, one of the highest sales in the complex. However, the market was slow. It was not busy. It was the only offer. And I think it's typical of what we're seeing. We're seeing a slowdown. We're seeing a slowdown in the number of buyers, but we're not seeing a slowdown in prices. And you've got to understand the difference there between the two. Okay, what I want to do now is just jump into take a quick look at Detached East Side, Vancouver East Side. A couple of months ago, I made a video called Stupid Prices in East Vancouver. I mean, I had just been seeing some sale prices that were off the charts, and I couldn't, eye-popping sales. Looking at recent numbers for the East Side, we can tell that the sale price, the solds have slowed down, right? So you can see up on the graph there, just that solds are now went from 190 to 152, and the sale price, it looks like it's dropped about $60,000. Now that's not a whole lot. Look, these change. Again, we have cycles. Prices will go up $50,000 a month, and then they'll drop the next month. That is normal. That's understandable. But I do think that we're probably not going to see the jumps with East Side homes that we saw for the last year coming out of the pandemic. I don't think we're going to see that going forward for the next 6 to 12 months. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see. Downtown. Let's just review downtown condos. Fairly sturdy market. It's not jumping off the charts here, but it's just kind of moving along. The number of inventory has jumped significantly since March. You can see here there's 993 homes in the market. That's a lot more than the previous month was 936. Back in March, it was only about 700 homes in the market. So it's 40% increase in inventory. Sales are down. That's the numbers of sales, from 273 to 197. Downtown, by the way, is Yaletown, West End, Cole Harbor, and the downtown market. Okay, and you can see there that the sale prices are slightly up from about $745 average to $759. So I think the key thing to take away from those downtown numbers is the prices are fairly flat. They're just on a plateau at the moment, and actually there's a lot more inventory out there. So if you were a buyer looking for a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom perhaps, this is a great time to get in there. You've got a lot more selection, more choice, right? And you're maybe not competing with as many buyers, which is a bonus. Keep in mind, across the board, we have been seeing fixed interest rates increasing. That may also be slowing the amount of sales down. And of course, June 1st, we had the stress test, the newest version of the stress test, which says you need to meet the 5.25% threshold to be able to buy something. Okay? So meaning you've got to support a 5.25% interest rate in order to get a much lower one. Okay? And so that's happening there too. But it is a good time. I think downtown, I just met with a couple last night. We had a very comprehensive discussion on their needs, their wish list, and what they'd love to have in a home. And this is a great, like all couples, they always have those questions. Like, is this the right time to buy? Is it too early? Should I wait? And I would say that when you see these windows of opportunity where, all of a sudden the market is flooded with a couple hundred listings, it's slowed down a bit, interest rates are still really good, it's, go on and get in. There's no point trying to time the market. That's really impossible for any of us to do. So I would say go on and let's go and get a home. Plus, you're not paying your landlord's mortgage, you're paying off your own mortgage, and that's really how you build wealth over the long run. And I'm going to make a video about that in the coming months. Finally, rents. Rents are starting to track back up. At the beginning of the pandemic, we had rents, a 2-bedroom downtown was renting for about $3,000. During the pandemic, actually came down, the website Zumper.com, that's with a Z, says it came down to about $2,600, which is fairly accurate because even in my building here on our floor, some of the 2-bedrooms at that time were going for about $2,500. I know there's a lady on her floor, she actually did what a lot of tenants did, which is quite savvy. She called her landlord and said, look, there's a few other options available for us in Kits. We could move there, save several $100s a month. We'd love to stay, but will you renegotiate our rent? And of course, the tenant really likes this person, the landlord really liked her and said, okay, I'll drop the rent to $2,500 for a 2-bedroom for you. She locked it in, long-term, 1-year lease, and then of course it goes month to month after that, and perfect, right? It's a perfect world now because in the future you can only have an increase of 2%, which is 2% by inflation. That's all that's allowed by the BC government. So a savvy move. I think there's a lot of tenants, you're out there, you're doing that. That window is probably closed at this point because the rents are starting to increase. And of course, when the borders open up, we're going to have a lot more people coming into downtown Vancouver. Expect the rents to go up. That's been the trend already. 2-bed, Zumper is telling us the average price of 2 beds are now up to $2,850. Something similar in the middle of the pandemic, 1-bedrooms dropped to $1,900. They're now up to about $2,000 a month. So expect that trend to continue. Also, if you're reading online, maybe from the Washington Post, you'll notice a lot of American cities are starting to see this. Rents are increasing across the board. Here in Canada, we're going to have a lot more contract workers coming in, students coming in, and just immigrants moving into the city once the borders open. So obviously, folks need homes. It's going to put pressure on the rental market, and when that happens, it'll also put pressure on prices a little bit later. So hopefully this has been of value to you. If you enjoyed the stories, the content, subscribe. We love having you, and we'll see you next time.